to that. Well, look, let's start off first of all with a bit of an update that's coming from Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail tonight. And he says that Hugo Ekitike and Liam Delap are admired by Manchester United and are two names among a list of forwards being monitored ahead of the summer. Please talk about Heaven, Mark. We will talk about Heaven in a moment, but I want to, patience is a virtue, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Well, look, I know Beth was talking about Ekitike earlier. 22 years of age, not obviously, but 22 years of age, 6'3". We were looking at him before. He was at PSG. He was at Reims when we were looking at him. Went to PSG, now at Eintracht Frankfurt. I think that the thing about him is he's never really been massively prolific until this season. Considering he'll be 23 in the summer, this is his best ever season with 13 goals in 25 games. Before that, he'd had 4 in 14 in a loan. At PSG, he only scored 3 goals in his entire time there. And at Reims, he scored 10 in 26. So never really been that prolific. Still considered to be quite young, but I don't know. Hello everybody, today's clip is supported by Sleeper. Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit more about Sleeper. This app is making serious waves. It was the #1 downloaded sports app in the US during the NFL season, even beating heavyweights such as ESPN and Yahoo. Sleeper isn't just popular, it's because they truly deliver the best fantasy experience. You get deeper customization, more league options, and all the bells and whistles that make managing your fantasy team a blast. But that's not all. Sleeper is growing a fantastic community with several million people using it daily for their sports fix. Sleeper has a broad appeal and is genuinely built for everyone. So, if you're looking to up your fantasy game, make sure to check out Sleeper by clicking the link in the video description. Trust me, you won't regret it. And then you look at Delap again. So Delap's being linked to Manchester United again. And again, I just double check on this one. So Delap is... Look, the point is we're going to sign a striker. I think we're going to sign a striker. But Liam Delap is 22. Just 22. And in the Premier League, he has scored goals for Ipswich. We've seen that this season. But both Ekitike and Liam Delap are 22. Gyökeres and Osimhen are 26. There's a big difference here. Gyökeres and Osimhen are scoring goals in the Champions League. Delap and Ekitike are scoring goals for Eintracht Frankfurt and Ipswich. There's a difference here. Now, I am a little bit confused as to what it is Amrin wants, what it is the club wants, and what it is we actually need. Because, hey ho, here we go. We can all talk about players that we want to come to the club, and we can all talk about transfers, and we can all say it's spin, but we are going to bring a striker in. And regardless of the names that we get linked to, and maybe tomorrow morning it will be, some other journalists saying that we want Jonathan David, and that wouldn't surprise me. But what I've been thinking for a while, and I wanted to mention here is, I don't for 1 minute doubt that Chris Wheeler might be right about Liam Delap. I don't dispute the fact that we might be looking at Osimhen and Gyökeres. But what I do query is, what is it that Amrin wants? Because there's a big difference between Liam Delap at 22 and Gyökeres at 27. And there's a big difference between Ekitike at 22 and Victor Osimhen at 27. They are different profiles of strikers at different levels of their journey. One of them is experienced and ready to go into their prime years, and one of them is at the start of their journey and needs developing. And we've already got that. We've already got that with Rasmus. And we've already got that with Obi Martin. Developmental strikers. So what are we doing going for people like Liam Delap? What does that actually do? Who would be the starting striker? Would it be Rasmus? Would it be Obi Martin? Or would it be Delap? Because for me, they're all development players. I think we've all been talking about needing a striker. But what we've actually been talking about is needing an experienced striker. We wanted Harry Kane a few years ago. It was never going to happen. But we need an experienced striker. So I think that to me is the key. And that to me is what I'm a little bit confused about. And also, I'd love to know what you lot think, but in relation to this question, what do you think Amrim wants? What do you think Amrim wants? Because I think Amrim wants Gyökeres. And therefore, Amrim wants an experienced striker to come in, be ready, and also to help Rasmus and Obi Martin and Xerxes and Garnacho, because they're all young. I think it's not just about the striker. I think it's also about the number 10s. Xerxes young, Ahmad's young, Garnacho's young. So I actually think he wants an experienced striker who will, when Garnacho plays the wrong pass or Ahmad plays the wrong pass, says, oi, I'm the guy, play it into me. I think he wants an experienced striker because I can't understand why he'd want another inexperienced one. I think he wants an experienced striker. But I think what we've got here is a football club and a board which has been forgotten. It was all very much spoken about in the summer. Ten Hag has a say, but he doesn't have the say. Remember, Amrim will not have the say, he will have a say. I think Amrim is probably going, I want an experienced striker. And you've got people like Wilcox and Barada and maybe Brailsford and maybe whoever else is there going, yeah, we can't afford that. So, but we can get you a younger striker who might become the next Gyökeres in 3 or 4 years. And I think that's what we're doing here. I don't think we'll ever get that out of Amrim, by the way. I think Amrim will be happy with whatever he gets. But I do think it's worthwhile, and it's something I'd wanted to speak about in the international break anyway, and it sort of fell into our lap because of Delap and Ekitike and Osman and Gyökeres and Sesko stories. But I am confused because all these strikers were being linked to, there is no running theme. And that's before you get into stylistically. Like, stylistically, they're all very different as well. But for me, the big thing is, they're very different on their journeys. There are experience and there is inexperience. How can a manager be so lax? How can Amrim just say, yeah, Delap, Gyökeres, doesn't matter to me. Ekitike, Osman, yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as they can play up front. Come on. There's a world of difference between these profiles. And we're looking at all of them. And are we looking at them all because we're sort of like going, we want one. We want one. And we don't know which one we're going to get. Delap is the only young striker that makes sense as he's Premier League proven. Glazers will hope for a cheaper price when Ipswich gets relegated, as Ross McRae. But you know what? In relation to Delap, I don't necessarily think he is an easy deal for Manchester United to do. I think that there will be other clubs looking at him. I can see him in a Newcastle shirt. I can see him in a Chelsea shirt. I can see him at Aston Villa. I can actually see Delap at different clubs. Why would Aston Villa not go for Delap? British, Watkins is going to be 30, Duran's gone, plenty of game time if they're in Europe again. I can see Delap being wanted by a lot more clubs than Man United. And also at Man United, I don't know whether Delap's better than Rasmus, to be honest. So, Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.